Okay, so last week we were talking about YouTube ads, and we talked about a few of the things that made them unique, and I'll just go over them quickly again. First of all, you only pay on the preview ads, you only pay if someone watches for more than 30 seconds. So you have to shoot them differently than most ads. You have to tell them upfront what you're doing, who it's for, what you're selling for. If someone's not interested, they have the ability to opt out. If they opt out, you don't pay. So it's a little different than like a Facebook ad, a video where the whole thing is to try to keep them watching. And YouTube is trying to let them know what you're talking about, so they can choose to leave if they're not interested. All right. I did find this video done by a gentleman who has a digital marketing agency in the UK. He actually is somebody that I use as a consultant, and so I have a great deal of respect for him. And this is just like a 3.5-minute video about how to approach the pre-roll ads on YouTube. And what I'm going to do here is I want to make sure that I share computer sound. So I've done that now. Well, that's great. All right, so here we go.
Actually seeing is that my phone's ringing. Sorry, guys. Oh, it's the wife.
The way he says, oh, it's the wife.
I just ignore that. Hey people, so today we are going to talk about YouTube pre-roll ads and whether or not they work for us as a lead generation agency and whether or not they could work for you as an agency or as a business owner. So what exactly are pre-roll ads on YouTube? I'm sure you've seen them all before. You might be watching or wanting to watch a YouTube video and there's an advertisement that rolls for, I don't know, 5 seconds before you can actually watch the content that you want to watch. It actually forces you to watch an ad before it gets to a certain point, and then you can skip forward and watch the content that you wish. And traditionally these have been used for branding for some of the big brands. I'm sure you've seen the latest Hyundai or the latest Audi electric car that's got some schmick, well-designed, beautiful ad that's like creating some kind of brand awareness for this huge, massive brand. And I think this is what YouTube thought of when they started this advertising platform, is because it was for brand awareness. But when YouTube first started this advertising platform, I'm sure this is what they had in mind. It was like a new way for huge brands to come in and advertise and build that brand awareness. But what we found is there's a little loophole in the system. You can use these videos for lead generation and it works like crazy. Okay, so if you are currently running Facebook ads or Google AdWords and you're generating leads there, I would highly recommend hiring an actor. And this sounds like a lot, right? But hiring an actor, creating a video script and trying to sell your product or service using YouTube ads. So instead of being this massive brand that's building that brand awareness, you can actually create a well-scripted ad, have that as a pre-roll, get it set up as an advertisement, and people will click on that ad if your targeting and what you're offering is relevant to them. And you can take people from the ad to a landing page or a quiz or something like that where they'll put in their details and become a lead. And to give you an idea, the cost per lead that we're generating for YouTube ads at the moment is as good or better than what we're generating using Facebook. And the great news is that the quality is excellent as well, because people are engaging in content, they're watching a video and they're having the product or service explained to them rather than having to read through a long and kind of maybe arduous or boring kind of landing page or advertorial. So I would highly recommend looking into it if you haven't done so before. It works well. If you want to find out more about how we generate leads and what we're currently doing at the moment, head over to our website, flexible.com, take a little quiz, and we'll divert you to the right part of our business. Speak soon.
YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time.
All right. So that's just a quick kind of overview of the of that preview ad, which we did talk about last week. So I thought we'd get you the script that Dan uses here, and so I've shared it. And Grayson, I would think when you send out the follow-up email, we could include a link to this script. Okay.
Making a note now.
Super. All right. So it starts off with the hook. You have to get people's attention. You have to let people know, we're here giving you information, that you should be interested in. So it's kind of a call out to the audience, focus on the main point, the desire of the audience. In this case, he's using an example. One of the things that he does is he gets leads for people wanting to finance new cars. And are you looking to finance a new car through your business? So right up front, if that is something you're interested in, you will stay watching. But if it's something, but say you don't own a business, you don't really care, and so you'll click out and you won't actually, and the person advertising won't actually pay for you having watched it. Okay, the other hooks are: you a business owner looking for a new car? Have you got money in your business for a new car? Are you looking to buy an electric car through your business? Notice every time he's being very clear that this is for business owners. And that's because of that uniqueness of Facebook where you don't pay if they click out. So, but it still has to be of interest. If you are a business owner, hopefully that will be of interest and you'll stay and listen to it. All right. The next part of the script is the problem. What is the pain, challenge, or desire? Show opportunity. So in this case, it would be like, but are you confused by the tax implications? Or is it going to be better to take cash out of your business and finance it this way, or buy inside the biz and pay the benefit in kind tax? We know this is confusing. You shouldn't need to pay an accountant to make this decision for you. So they're addressing the problem or the challenge or the pain point that the customer is having. Then we move to the credibility portion of the script, where what gives you the right to speak on the topic, explain product or service features and benefits. And the way they do that in this is, we are a brand new tech startup who are disrupting the archaic car finance industry. We are helping business owners find the best car finance deal for their individual solution. We help thousands of business owners make the better decisions when it comes to financing their car. So why should I listen to you? Explain who you are and what makes you special. Then the solution. What is the solution to the problem, challenge, or desire the audience is currently feeling? Our 30 seconds artificial intelligence survey tool takes the hassle out of car finance for entrepreneurs. We will tell you your best options and find you the cheapest, most tax-efficient car finance deal. And so what they actually have is a fill in the blank type survey that they give you, where they ask you about your business and about your income and your tax situation, where they actually, based on your answer, can figure out if the best way for you to move forward is by buying through your business or buying personally. So you're actually supplying a value there, and you're giving the answer right up front. And then give the call to action. Give a benefit-based call to action, such as click here to take our free survey, which will save you time and money. All right. So real simple. Start off with getting their attention, then address the problem, explain why you're qualified to address the problem, then give them the solution and the call to action. Okay. If someone fills that out, they then become a lead, and they not only become a lead, but they become a lead, in this case, with you having information about them, which greatly increases your opportunity to close the deal. All right. So does that make sense to people? And does anyone have any questions about that? Daisy, I was picking on you yesterday, so why don't I continue? Did that make sense, which I just talked about?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
It's a little bit complex for me, but yes, did it.
I'm sorry?
Yes, a little bit not in my field, but I understood.
Right, it's not your field, but do you see how I believe you do vitamins, correct?
Yes.
Do you
Supplement,
see
yeah.
do you see how you could use this script to talk about vitamins?
Yes.
Okay. And do you think if someone listened to a 1-minute discussion on this laid out this way, they would become either a qualified lead or would qualify themselves out?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think, I mean, I happen to know that this is used in a very effective way for people selling supplements and the like.
Okay.
All right. And Alex just says, seems like it's a condensed sales qualification script process. And that's exactly what it is. You're helping the person realize if they're a prospect or not, saving both them and you the time. And that works really well. And, you know, who knows the emotional differences, but when you do it in the written form, it tends to turn people off. But when done in the video form, it is viewed as being very helpful.
I see.
All right. Don't ask me why that's the case, but we know from facts that it is. All right. Does anyone have any questions, or in particular, do they have any questions about how they could do that in their business?
Well, I do.
Go ahead. What's your question?
I like to, yeah, can we move a little? I like to see the beginning of it, of the chart,
Sure.
please. Thank you.
Okay. So in your case, what is the most common issues people are having that they can use your vitamin to solve?
Be healthier or boost their immune system,
Okay.
or even the pandemic or the virus.
Okay. But we have to put that into a hook. So as an example, do you seem to get sick easily? Are you constantly fighting off a cold?
Oh, I got that. Okay.
Right. I mean, if someone now I could be totally wrong. This is your field, not mine. Okay. So, but I would think someone would be fairly sophisticated if they're interested in boosting their immune system.
I agree with
But
you.
But I don't think they have to be sophisticated to know that they're constantly feeling just a little run down, a little tired, and seem to catch every cold that goes around.
Uh-huh.
So the thing, I mean, I know, Grayson, you've been feeling under the weather, and so is Chattery. Is that correct over the last few days?
I'm better now. I mean,
Right, but
I
I
was
said over
better
the
by
last few
like,
days.
no, I haven't been feeling bad in the last few days.
Oh,
Tired maybe, but not
okay.
bad.
Well, let me ask you, Daisy, would you help with people who are tired?
Yes.
Okay. So, Grayson, if you went to watch, I happen to know Grayson's a big Fish fan in music. So if you wanted to watch a Fish video and someone came in beforehand, have you been feeling tired recently? Is it hard to get going in the morning? Maybe you don't fall asleep as quickly as you'd like or sleep as soundly. Would that interest you?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay. So Daisy, does that make sense? You deal with the issue. You have to show that you have empathy for the person. Do you understand what they're going through?
Okay.
Most of the people that are looking to improve their immune system are in your field. They're not necessarily your best prospects.
Throw in some arthritis and joint pain.
Oh yeah. Does your product help with arthritis and joint pain?
Yes.
So again, when do you have trouble getting out of bed because of arthritis pain? Do Do you not enjoy golf as much as you used to in the past? Is playing with the grandchildren getting difficult, having to bend over and stuff? See, if people are suffering that, it will catch their attention.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So that's the hook.
Okay.
Okay? Then you go down to the problem. The problem is, go ahead, Grayson.
Well, I was just going to say, Alex had typed in, and I don't know if it's now or later you want to address this, but he says, seems that it's a condensed sales qualification script process.
Oh, you weren't paying attention, Grayson. I actually already have read that and said to him it exactly was, that is exactly what it is.
I missed that.
And that it works
You're right.
better in video than it does in written form.
Okay, my bad. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So that hook is the thing that gets the attention. Now goes the problem, which is where you get to talk a little bit more in depth. Okay. So as an example, Rob, throughout the example about arthritis, as we age, as we get older, our joints begin to get sensitive, and the protective tissues that protect the joints grow thin, and that means that we begin to feel our every move, and we begin to restrict the activities we do, and doing the activities we've always loved are no longer as enjoyable as they once were. Mm-hmm. Daisy, is that true? I mean, hopefully you've thought it out a little bit more than that, so it's a little smoother. I was bouncing around a little bit, but is that basic concept true?
Yes.
Okay, so now we've had the hook where we show them the problem. We then have gone through and discussed the problem a little bit, explained it a little bit. Okay, we've maybe teased a little bit. Maybe we say, there are supplements that actually help you with this problem. There are supplements that actually can eliminate or ease the pain that comes with arthritis and joint pain. That's just a little tease. We're not asking them to actually buy it yet, but we're just throwing it out as a little tease. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Daisy, why should I listen to you? We're down to the credibility. Okay. I mean, you come to my seminars, so that's a good enough reason for me, but may not be a good enough reason for someone else. So why should they listen to you?
By experience, or the years that people have taken my supplement and helped them.
Okay. How did you come about making this supplement?
Okay. I learned from a lady from Poland that she's holistic and raised her kids in the healthiest way that possible, and they never got sick. And they always wanted to miss school because their friends were getting sick, and they never got sick. And then she told me the story, how amazing I help her friends and everybody. Then I started making it, gave it to my friends and family, and everybody's came back with amazing stories.
Okay, so let me ask you, were your kids getting sick?
No.
At the time, they were not getting sick. So this was not a problem you had at all.
I see. When she told the story, I started to make and gave to my daughter, and we were not getting sick then.
Okay, but were you getting, but my question is, in other words, if someone said to me, Art, this pill will allow you to breathe, and I'm having no trouble breathing, I have no interest in that pill. Why did you have an interest in it? If nobody was getting sick, if everyone was 100% healthy in your family, and you had absolutely no need for it, why did it interest you?
Yeah, that's a good point. I grew up in Brazil, and my family always looking for alternative medications and natural. And when she told me about the amazing things that the tonic will do it for you,
Okay, so I think there's got to be more to this story, Daisy, and here's why I think it is. Do you want to go to Antarctica?
No.
No? Well, let me tell you how to go to Antarctica. I've got a way that you can actually get to Antarctica.
I got it.
But you have no interest in it. So why would you listen to me? What you're telling me is that you were already eating healthy. You already had no illness. You already felt great. There was nothing to gain. And so you found this lady's story fascinating. That doesn't make sense. There's got to be something else here, because you literally have told me I had no reason to be interested in it whatsoever. I had no need for it. I could gain nothing from it. I could have no benefit from it. And I found that fascinating. That is not, that sounds odd to me. Doesn't that sound odd to you?
Yeah, I cannot, well, yeah, that sounds odd. And I try to figure out how to answer you, but I was fascinated.
Yeah, because I don't think that makes a very compelling, we'll ask Grayson. Grayson, if I said, I've been healthy my whole life, I've never had a single problem. I always slept well. I always woke up with a lot of energy. I could work all day. And then I took this pill and then I was perfectly healthy and I could sleep well and I could get up and be, it changed everything. It was exactly like it was before I started taking the pill. Would that interest you?
No, I'd kind of be looking at you like one of those memes, like, are you feeling okay?
You see, so there had to be something, Daisy. And the reason I'm asking is that becomes, so let's just say, and I'm not suggesting you lie, I'm suggesting you figure out why it interested you, because it's not because you didn't need it, and it's not because you had all the benefits already that it was offering. That's just illogical. I just don't buy that. But let's just say your kids were getting sick regularly. Then to say, well, my children were 5 and 8 and they were missing school regularly because they were always getting ill. And then I met this lady from Poland whose kids never got sick and they always were healthy. And in fact, they used to complain because their kids, their friends could miss school because they were sick, and they never could miss school because they were never sick. And so I really found that fascinating, how healthy they were. So I began to talk to their mother, and their mother explained to me about this product that she gave them that made them so healthy. And I started giving it to my kids, and then they started complaining about never missing school because they were never sick again from the day I gave it to them. That's an interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
My kids were never sick. And then I met this lady who gave me a supplement, and my kids were never sick after they started taking the supplement, which isn't that surprising because they were never sick beforehand. You see how that's just not that compelling.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So there has to be and I'm serious, I don't believe you would have found this that fascinating if there wasn't something about it. I mean, what you're telling me right now, okay, is that you actually have no idea if this product works or not, because life was perfect before the product, life is perfect after the product. There's no reason to believe the product does anything. And yet I know you believe the product does something. So so there's got to be something else other than life was perfect beforehand, life is perfect afterwards. No need to take it.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're 100% right. My family, my mom with diabetes, my brother with high cholesterol, and
Okay.
everybody,
See,
was in my mind, I need to do something to not get like them.
See, that's a totally different story.
Mm-hmm.
When I grew up, my mother had diabetes. Your brother had high cholesterol.
Yes.
And their lives were impacted by this, and I was determined not to become like them. I felt for them, but I really wanted to be healthy myself. In fact, I wanted to find something to help them be healthier.
That's
and
right.
Then I met this lady, boom, boom, boom. That's a compelling story.
Uh-huh.
I think. Grayson, your
Because
thoughts?
that's right. Yes, I'm
That's a very compelling story.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Thank you, Grayson. Yeah, because I'm grew up only vegetarian and try always to maintain being healthy. But people around me were sick, and I wanted to avoid that. Yes.
And you wanted to help them with that.
Yes.
Right. Okay. That would be why you're credible, because of your search that you went on, because of the people around you that you love, their health being affected.
Mhm.
Okay, and then you found that. Okay, and then we move into the solution. The solution was this product that she shared with you, correct?
Yes, yes.
And then you could actually lead them just like this. You could actually lead them right into a survey that would tell them if they would benefit from taking this or not.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean by leading them into a survey to tell them if this would help them or not?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you take them into a survey where to find out if you would benefit from taking this product, click on the survey below and answer the questions, and in 30 seconds, you'll know if you would benefit or not. Okay, great. You click on the survey. First question, and I don't know what the first question would be because you know the product, but I'm just going to make it up for the example case, okay?
Mhm.
Do you presently suffer from diabetes, high cholesterol, joint pain? You know, click off whatever is bothering you, you know, that you're suffering from, or none of the above, okay? Well, the person clicks cholesterol and high blood pressure. Great. Second question, are you presently taking medication for these items? Yes or no? Yes. Great. Have you changed your lifestyle? Yes or no, whichever, okay?
Uh-huh.
And based on their questions, if someone answers, no, I have none of those issues, and one of the questions, do you sleep well at night? Yep, I sleep great at night. Do you have any joint pain? Nope, no joint pain. You're going to tell them, hey, congratulations. You seem to be in the best of health. Although it would probably help you to take this to stay healthy, this doesn't sound like something you need to do. But if the person comes back with, I have joint pain, I have trouble sleeping, I have you know, this product would be perfect for you for these reasons. Okay. The reason we take them through a survey is because what you've done is earn the right to actually give them an opinion. You know, if I stand here and say, Daisy, you should take this product, you go, you just want to sell me a product, right? But if I asked you a series of questions that you've answered that have led us to the conclusion that you should take this product, I've earned a lot more credibility with you that this product might be good for you.
Yes.
Because I'm willing to bet you survey people when you're talking to them, do you not? You just don't call it that.
That's right.
Right? Do you ask them if they have diabetes or high blood pressure?
Well, usually how it started, then they start to tell me that they were not feeling good. And then I tell them that I have something that to help other people with the same problems.
You go right to that? You don't ask them about their condition first? You don't learn about them first? You just instantly try to sell them the product?
No. They come to me and they start complaining or saying that they have some
Right.
problem.
But what I'm saying is the moment they say, hey, Daisy, please forgive me. I'm not trying to be obnoxious. It just comes natural for me, okay? But what I'm saying is if I came up to you and said, oh boy, I have a headache, you'd instantly go, oh, you should take my Daisy's concoction. Is that what you do instantly? Or do you say, oh, do you have headaches often? I would think you'd say, do you have headaches often? Oh yeah, 3 or 4 times a week. Really? Is it usually after you don't have a good night's sleep? I would think you'd have a conversation with them. I wouldn't think you'd jump down their throat instantly trying to sell them this.
You are right. Yes, I have a conversation first. Yes.
Right. That's all the survey is that conversation.
Okay.
Does that make sense that that's all the survey is?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Do you have headaches? Yes. Do you have headaches once or twice a week, 3 or 4 times a week, 5, once to twice a week? Great. Is it usually after you haven't had a good night's sleep? Or does it not seem to be affected by the amount of sleep you had? No, it actually seems to be when I don't have a good night's sleep. Well, great. Now you've learned about them. Now you've had that conversation with them. You've had it back and forth, but instead in live, you had it in a survey form.
May I interject something here?
Yes. Gail?
Yes,
Is that you?
hi. Yes,
Perfect.
hi. Daisy and I seem very similar. So although I was listening to this course for my husband's company, which is a design build remodeling company, I was also listening to it as a dual purpose for my company. So I think for just the fundamental purpose of this is also for Daisy, for you and I to take a look, because we seem very similar. I have people that have come to me for over 20 years and they just start talking about their ailments. I can't, besides family and friends, even acquaintances. So it just comes natural to us, and it's a natural dialogue that flows of, they'll say, yeah, I get, for example, your headache example. Yeah, I get headaches. Really? That's terrible. And then they'll say, yeah. And I'll say, how often do you get them? And then it just kind of flows. So everyone, it's not scripted. It just flows. So we're not used to putting it into a script or a survey. And also Daisy's story, right? It's just for her to think about where it all started with her, because it's not for you, Daisy. We're not trying to say, or they're not trying to say, you got to have a better hook or you have to have a better story, but just because it comes so natural to you. The reason was because you wanted to help yourself, and now you want to help other people. And that's the same boat that I'm in. And really, I'm doing this to help other people, and everyone's like, well, yeah, but you're gonna have to make money, or you're not gonna have the money to go spend money to help other people. And that's true. So I'm not trying to create a hook for the purpose of, that comes across as false, because it is. I just want to tell my story. And so you just have to think about what is the true heart of the matter of why you thought, why you wanted that solution that you're taking, or that you want to give it and have it be out there for other people to know, because it is interesting to hear about what your real story is.
Hey, Art, let me ask you a quick question.
Sure. I just
While
want to
we're
say,
on
Gail, I think that was fantastic. Okay.
Yeah,
I appreciate
totally
it.
agree.
Go ahead, Grace.
While we're back on the subject of hooks, Portia asks, what about tying it into COVID, or does the hook have to be a story about the past?
No, it doesn't. It could be tied into COVID. The only problem with tying it into COVID is that it will only last so long. Okay,
if we do it,
and
which is not a problem. If
you
if
should
you
not
get
ever
business.
you should not talk and use the words COVID in your stuff, because that is, you should come from a point of, I just took a whole course on this, and you should not be mentioning and using the words COVID and using that label, but you might say, hey, do you want to, help deal with your anxiety, or you want to feel better, or do you want to be keeping a strong immune system during these times? But you shouldn't reference the words COVID.
That's interesting. Why did they say you shouldn't?
Because you're, again, to the point of your class yesterday on the Facebook, video, you come across right away anyway as selling something, like, and not only that, it's overdone. How many emails has everyone gotten?
Right.
If you look at every commercial now, if you look at all the commercials, I watch them all. For example, I don't even get TV, I have satellite, but I was watching commercials last night, and all the big, whether it's the insurance companies or car dealerships, they don't mention COVID. If you listen, they talk to someone's pain, okay? Right. Whatever their pain is, mentally.
Yeah, you always have to talk to the pain. I agree with that.
Physically, but they don't use the words COVID, okay? Because it's a turnoff, like you were saying yesterday about trying to immediately come across selling or whatever. Yeah, everyone knows COVID's out there. Everyone knows that's the problem right now. Right. But you don't have to reiterate and use those words and say it. In fact, it's going to be a negative connotation. So, and a limited time that ultimately you'll be able to use that. You want to be able to speak to, generally helping people's immune system, for example.
Right. Regardless of what the issue is that day.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Gail, and all you guys, because I have doing that naturally because I like help people, and I never put in the paper or see all those procedures. And I started business 1 year ago when my brother said, I can't believe it. You keep making those tonics and gave it to everybody, and everybody keeping asking for you. You need to make a business. Now I'm going to the transition. It's really hard to sell something when I want to give away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
It is. It's a big process, but you're doing all the right things. Art's giving great information. The fact that Art, that you're doing this course free, I'm very thankful for. And, we don't know what we don't know. And you have expertise in this. So thank you.
Great. I appreciate that. So anyway, so Gail, not Gail, Daisy, thank you for asking that, because I think working through it, I'd like to, you know, helps everybody, but I'd like to do it again just because I know that some other people saying, yeah, but what about my business? So does anybody else have a business that they're having a hard time figuring out how they would do this for their business?
Well, can I ask the example for the design build remodeling company?
Absolutely.
Okay, so would you say something like, hey, I'll just give one of the examples of problems we solve for people. So, hey, are you feeling frustrated with having to share workspace with your partner at home now? And are you possibly needing more space? Or would it be that, or
That would certainly be one that would work. Okay. Again, though, depending on the situation, that might be a limited time. If, you know, like my wife is home working now, but she's a school teacher, she's not going to be forever, obviously.
Mhm.
So, you know, again, you have to decide which group you want to tap into. But yes, Gail, that the answer is yes, that would work.
Or like, hey, is your kitchen feeling exceptionally small now that you've been spending all kinds of time in it? That'd be another one.
Yeah, that would be it. Although I might do, I might try, and this might have more to do with my personality, but just go with me for a second. I might try to be the more positive and more uplifting. So, as an example, you might say, have you been having a great time cooking with your family over the last few weeks? Imagine if your kitchen was designed to take advantage of that. You know, we can help create those magical moments of families preparing their meals together. Well, I went a little too fast to the call to action, which is at the bottom, but you know, let's go back and try that again. So
yeah, say that again.
You might try with, you know, and this is true, some of my favorite moments growing up was the time spent cooking with my mother and father and preparing the family meal. And I really wanted to duplicate that for my family. Right? I think a lot of people have that. Did you have that experience, Gail, growing up, that it was fun baking with your mother or cooking?
Yeah.
Okay. So I might draw attention to that. That might be my call out to the audience about the great times families have in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then say,
you know, so now we go through to the problem. We've done the call out, which is the great family times. And the problem is that many kitchens were not designed to take advantage of a group of 3 or 4 people cooking at the same time. Sometimes we find we get in each other's way, and it actually can lead to friction, which is the exact opposite of what we're hoping to accomplish.
mm-hmm.
Okay, which is the problem. There's not adequate workspace. There's not a sink for preparing the vegetables separate from the main sink. Right? You know, list some of the things that might be hindering the process. It may not be laid out to allow people easy access to the baking utensils and foods that they need to bake. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So like, just list some of the things that I already know are pains for people and why they decide to remodel. Okay.
Okay. And then we're down to the credibility. You might wonder why I seem to have such a great understanding of all the things that can lead to frustration when family starts cooking together. Mm-hmm. That's because I'm making this up, so don't worry about if the facts are right. But you know, that's why when my husband opened up his remodeling business 20 years ago, one of the things that I knew he just didn't understand was the proper layout of a kitchen to entice the whole family into the act. And so I stepped in to fill that role for him, and I took certification courses on how to design kitchens specifically around including the family or including friends in the baking process. I learned the 14 steps you need to do when designing that kitchen in order to make it a joy to cook with a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Right.
Now, as I made up those facts, you have to come up with the real facts.
Right. And actually the video for him will be him. So it will be in his
Right.
speech, not me, but
Right.
But,
And
yeah,
but still,
I
and I,
got your point.
yeah. And even though if he's speaking, by the way, and let's just for a moment say you are the kitchen designer, that say the same thing was that I was saying, say that whole thing was true, which I know I made up, but just,
Yeah.
but he can say, I started up the business, and immediately my first client I sat down with, and she started talking about how to cook as a family, and that's what she wanted to do. And I realized I didn't have a clue. And that's when I went to my wife and said, will you help me? If you know what I'm saying. I mean, that's very authentic, very human.
Right.
You know, and so it doesn't matter who's saying it. What matters is that the story is true, because we got great BS meters these days. We're used to people lying to us, so we pick it up fast if they do.
Mm-hmm.
And it just comes across authentic. But there's almost always a story if you actually stop and think about it. Quite often we don't think about the story because it's so obvious to us.
Right.
But there usually was a story that led us in that direction. We usually don't end up doing what we're doing out of no reason.
Right. So my questions of hey, do you know, are there a lot of you in the kitchen? I thought we were asking also a series of questions to the reader, to earn credibility. So I thought we were also talking about that.
Yes. Well, okay. So now in the credible, and I was going through about how I took this course, and it could be my wife took this course.
Mm-hmm.
I found a kitchen designer who was brilliant at this, whatever the story is.
Mm-hmm.
And you explain through the whole thing. And then you can have the call to action at the end of that could be, and we've now solved this problem for over 50 families, and we could solve it for yours also.
Mm-hmm.
Next, what you do is click on the link below and schedule a time to talk to us about your situation and how we can make the best of it, or to take the survey below that will help us understand what the best kitchen design for your situation would be. Okay. And those questions you'd ask in the survey are the same questions you ask if you meet with them in person. How many people cook at one time? What, do you do more baking, or do you do more cooking? Do you, whatever the questions are you need to ask for that issue. Does that make sense?
Yes, and actually I've already created all that. So we do have that we push out through on Google,
Okay, but
yeah.
is it a form they fill out, or is it a series of questions that they answer?
It's a series of questions. It's like a little quiz. It's called a quiz.
And then can they click on it? So like do you ask how many people cook at one time? Do you ask that?
To be honest, the person who handles my marketing created it. That happens to be my son. He's a whiz, and that's his profession. But so I'm not sure the questions, but ultimately they click, and the goal is to have them click on, to move forward. So.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to suggest, and by the way, I love marketing people, so I love your son. So don't misunderstand my next statement.
Yeah.
But that's probably not a good thing for the marketing person to do. We as a company would not agree to make that questionnaire, because we're not the experts.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should clarify. He did that with my husband, who's the owner.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
So
he had to do that with him. Yeah, he wouldn't have known what to ask. It's actually tailored for,
perfect.
Yeah,
you get my
totally.
point that
Totally.
quite often we get asked by people to come up with those,
Oh,
and we
yeah.
go, no. Well, I mean, we'll facilitate the meeting that develops the questions
Right.
happily.
Yeah,
But no,
he's the expert. My husband Ted's the expert, not my son,
Right.
in the remodeling carpentry world. But my son's the marketing expert, so he handles certain tasks for me. So that's one that he handled and created. So I don't know
Perfect.
the actual questions, but
Okay.
I know that it's. So my point is, so that kind of thing we could use, and duplicate it here. Use that same.
Exactly.
Right?
You could
Okay.
lead them right to the link to where they would answer those questions.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Great. Grayson, do we have any other questions?
Not at this moment, Art.
Okay, great. We're going to move on then. So now we've been talking about the pre-roll ads and the like, and that's not the whole story about YouTube. So I want to go on and discuss, we only have 15 minutes, but I want to discuss some of the other things that we can do with YouTube videos. All right. And as an example, I'm going to go to River Pools, which I believe I mentioned last week. This is a company that is partially owned by a gentleman named Marcus Sheridan, who again is another mentor or consultant that we use to help us do our best marketing. And so we'll use an example his here. And this is their YouTube channel, okay? And just a couple of things to note here, and just think about this for yourself. He's had 8,554 people go directly to his YouTube channel and listen to this introduction. He's had 399,000 people go and listen to how much do in-ground pools cost. These are massive numbers. You know, then he has 147. Okay, so this is good. So a great marketing program for any business will have a good YouTube channel as part of it. Now, I'll just play here his introductory. This is the one that plays when you go to his channel.
Hey, what's up guys? Christian here with River Pools. Listen, the sun is shining, summer is fast approaching. It's time to get this pool and our other 3 pools in our pool park up and running for our homeowners to come out and check out the prospect of installing a pool in their backyard. If that's you, you should subscribe to this YouTube channel because we create a lot of content specifically to help you make 3 different decisions in the pool buying process. First and foremost, we've created content to help you decide if a pool is right for your backyard, if it's worth the investment for your backyard, for your property. I'm not just talking about the price of a pool, but also the process you would go through in purchasing a pool and the installation of a pool. So lots of information around costs, the installation process, and I think it would help you determine if the process will be worth the investment for your backyard. Decision number 2 is we've created content to help you decide if a fiberglass pool is right for your backyard. There's 3 different types of pools: fiberglass, concrete, and vinyl liner. And while we specialize in fiberglass pools at River Pools, we recognize that fiberglass may not be the best fit for you, for your family, for your backyard. And we are okay with that. We just want to help you make the best decision for your property, for your family. Lastly, decision number 3 would be choosing the best manufacturer if indeed you decide to go with a fiberglass pool. And we've created content to show you exactly how your pool would be made if you chose River Pools. We would show you exactly how that pool should be installed, and we do hope that at the end of the day, if a fiberglass pool is the way to go for your family, for your backyard, that you would indeed choose River Pools. So, feel free to subscribe to our channel. I ask you to subscribe to our channel and use it as a resource to get all of the information you need if you're considering a pool for your backyard. I'm Christian with River Pools. Catch the wave.
Okay. So let me ask, what was people's reaction to that video? Did you like the guy? Did you like the company? Or did they lose credibility and did you get moved away from the company? What was your reaction?
I want a pool now.
You want a pool? Okay. Anyone else?
Great information. He just seems very natural, and it doesn't seem salesy because he's giving some intel that if you're there, that means you were interested anyway in pools, and it's giving information. So it's helpful.
Right. And I'll say one other thing. When you watch the other videos, which obviously we don't have time to do right now, he actually tells you when you should buy a cement pool over a fiberglass pool, or when you should buy vinyl. I mean, he gives you legit. I'll give you an example with the vinyl. He says right away, vinyl pools are less expensive to put in, okay? But you have to replace the vinyl liner on a regular basis. So over a 20-year basis, they're actually a much more expensive choice than a fiberglass pool, okay? And then he says, and you can tell he's being very authentic. Then he says, But if your kids are of the age that they'd make use of a pool now and you cannot afford a fiberglass pool today, you should get a vinyl pool because you don't want to give up those years of enjoyment with your children.
Very good.
Okay. I mean, when I say he gives legitimate reasons with the cement pools, see, one of the things about a cement pool is like if you're into diving, you can't change the depth of a fiberglass pool, but you can make a cement pool as deep as you want. Or if you want odd shapes, you can make a cement pool any shape you want. The fiberglass pools, you have to buy the shapes they make. So he actually, when you watch this, he actually gives you real life reasons why you should buy the other two, or when you should buy the other two. Does that make sense?
Yes, and after last week and you told us about him, I actually went to a site and watched his video. Well, he has a lot of videos, but I watched one of them, and part of what I like so much about his videos are that he seems in some of them a bit, I'm not going to say nervous, but not perfect. And that's very likable.
Right.
You know, it's not professional. Like it's clear, it's done well. It's a good background, but everything it's not like he's the most eloquent speaker, which is kind of nice. And it's a breath of fresh air. So I think that's why he had, on the one I watched, almost 500,000 views.
Right. Which, I mean, just imagine that for a moment. All
Yeah.
right. So now we're going to go. So what does his website look like? Or how does he use video on his website? So we're going to go here to the River Pools. All right. And you see right here, we see Learning Hub. When we go to the video library, now take a look at this. Welcome to our video library. And we scroll down and we have cost comparisons, pool tours, manufacturing, installation, options and accessories, and maintenance. Okay, we could click on any one of those and it'll take us to a playlist of it. Okay, but you go through here, River Pool Services in the community, the Y teaches water safety, River Pool introduces the massive, thing. I mean, there's just layer pool chemistry, the pump and filter system. Okay, this is massive. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you found this website, Gail, since you've been there, so we'll pick on you,
Mm-hmm.
and you were interested in pools, would you come back to this website every time you had a question?
Yes. He seemed like he was very knowledgeable about this particular, topic. So I definitely thought he gave good information. And I did the exact same thing and went to his video library and I was like, wow, he has a lot of videos.
Right. Now, here's an interesting thing he has found out, Gail. If you find his website and you come back to get information as you learn more, you need to learn more, right? When every time you learn something, you learn that you need to learn something else, right?
Yeah.
He has found that if people come back to his site 30 times,
Right.
there's an 80% chance you'll buy from him.
I would if I didn't already have a pool.
Yeah.
I would definitely.
Okay, and I bet you even found out stuff for your own pool in doing this.
Oh, I'm sure. Like I would use that as a source to come back to for maintenance. For example, he has a whole section on maintenance.
Right. Okay. And so this is another way you use YouTube, is by setting up your YouTube channel and setting up a information thing. Now you could do the same thing in the vitamin business and stuff. I mean, you could have you could have a video on each of the different things that ails people.
Mm-hmm.
And how it does it. I mean, just imagine if you became that resource, okay?
Right. And videos, I did create a video after your class yesterday, and Daisy had done hers and you guys were talking, giving feedback. And videos you said to do one every day, they're just so hard to do if you're not used to doing them. It's just really, I mean, the only way what was the only way to get better, I know, is I was telling my daughter, because she has like 15,000 followers on TikTok, but I was like, geez, I don't know how you do these videos. It's very like out of my comfort zone, but I guess the only way to get better is to keep doing them. So I'm going to try and do one every day. Not that I'm going to post all those, but I definitely think a person has to just keep doing them.
Yeah. I will tell you, you're not marketing in 2020 if you're not using video.
I agree.
And now, before we end, I just wanted to share one other. There's a thing that Marcus calls the selling seven. And we'll go over these over the next, I think we have 3 more weeks after today. We'll go through some of these others. But today I want to focus on the 80% video. And the reason I'm focusing on the 80% video is because this is something everybody could shoot today and improve their closing ratio by between 10 and 30%. All right. And so it's the quickest immediate payback for doing something. And what the 80% is most of us, when we meet with a client, there are a series of questions that 80% of the people we meet will ask, such as, how do you actually design the kitchen? Or what does this concoction actually do for my health? Is it safe? Is it not? Whatever the questions are, okay? And you put together a video that answers 80% of the questions they have, and you send it to them before you meet with them to discuss whatever you're selling them. And you tell them, I need you to watch this because this answers 80% of the questions that people have, and will allow us to focus when we meet on the things that are unique to you, which is obviously the stuff we should be spending the most time with. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to show, this is a jeweler talking about engagement rings, okay? Before you buy an engagement ring. I won't play the whole thing, just like the first 2 minutes, because we only have 4 minutes left. So just watch this.
Hi, I'm Edward Ferris, one of the owners of Burrells Jewellers. We've created this video to share with you our most commonly asked questions around choosing an engagement ring. We do have a detailed video on each of these questions, which you can click on in the description below. Firstly, before we talk about the first question that we commonly get asked, I wanted to say congratulations. You're at a most significant moment in your life. One I remember very dearly for myself. I proposed to my wife in Paris. Yes, very cheesy. And she said yes, thankfully. And we've been married now for 10 years, but I really did enjoy the moment. So congratulations to both of you. The most important consideration when choosing an engagement ring is how it suits your finger. What I mean by that is the distance that you have between your knuckle and your hand, the webbing of your hand. So if you have a longer finger, what would suit would be a long stone like an emerald cut or a marquee shaped stone, for example, or even a halo style ring, so you've got more length down the finger. Equally, if you have a shorter finger, then you'll be considering perhaps a round brilliant or princess cut solitaire, or even a trilogy ring that would go across the finger. Obviously, your personality plays a big part in this, and we love to show as many options as we can so you can see how it fits on the finger. The second most important consideration you're going to make is the gemstone that goes in your engagement ring. We always stress that hardness is the most important factor to consider. That's why a diamond is commonly chosen, because of its hardness. Equally, a sapphire or a ruby are very hard stones as well and could be worn every day. But that's not to say that another gemstone could be chosen. For example, an emerald. An emerald is a brittle or soft stone and will need protection, so the setting will play a part in making sure that it can be worn every day. The next consideration you're going to be...
All right. Real quick, how many people like this guy?
He's okay.
Okay. You didn't like his story about being cheesy in Paris?
No, I didn't find it too engaging.
Okay.
I like it.
You like
I
it?
liked
Okay.
it.
And it's going to be different for different people, okay? But let me point out a couple of things that this has done. Now, I think we've all had situations where we've had an appointment with somebody, but they actually talked to somebody before us. And that person got to educate them, and thus they became the expert, okay? In this case, he's now educating them about the length of your finger and how that affects what choice you're going to make and stuff. So if they happen to walk into another jeweler and the person doesn't talk about that, the person's going to seem not as helpful and not as educating. Would people agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
And if he does talk about it, we're not blown away by this. Wow, I never thought of that. because we've already thought about it. It's removed the magic of the other person educating them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's why these videos will immediately improve closing ratios 10 to 30%, because you have a little bit of chance to develop a little bit of a relationship, and that is based on personality of both individuals, the person watching, the person doing the video. So it may not always be as much as we would like it to be, but it would give us that chance to connect. But we also immediately get the role of the educator. We get to have them go, wow, that's great knowledge. I'm really glad I know that. It just isn't the same impact when the next person says the exact same thing with the exact same knowledge, but they're no longer the first one who gave us that insight. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a great video to use. All right, we're at time. I'm going to let everybody leave now. But if you could put your rating, just 1 through 5, 5 being the highest. If this was helpful information for, we can kind of fine tune what we do next week. That would be helpful before you left. And if you had specific questions, I will wait a few minutes and answer anybody's questions. But everyone's free to leave at this point if they'd like to. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. See you
All right.
next week.
Thank you.
Yes, Gail, we're going to share everything with you.
Okay, I didn't know if you were gonna like send a link to the sheet. I know you're gonna share the recording, but the sheet, I was just wondering about.
Well, we've actually made a page for the course, and so all the videos will be put there, and I've got a course resources section where we'll post
Awesome.
the sheets and stuff, links to the
Okay.
videos and whatnot.
Thank you.
Sure.